And welcome to the show, Al-Islam and Community Issues. My name is Naeem Sharif. We have Brother Julius today, and we are going to be talking about some of the symbolism of the Black Panther and where it came from, and also about a lot about the Black Panther Party. This is part 2 of a program, and I just want to do a quick review, and then me and Brother Julius will get down in some other things. The symbol of the Black Panther, as relating to the African American community of World War II, the 761st Tank Battalion was an African American tank unit. Their motto, or I should say, their patch on their shoulder was the Black Panther. Their motto was "Come out fighting." The most famous member of the 761st was First Lieutenant Jackie Robinson. During the training of the 761st, a white bus driver told Jackie Robinson to get to the back of the bus. Mr. Robinson refused. They wanted to court-martial him. To cut to the chase on the story, Mr. Robinson was acquitted of all charges. Some of the awards that the 761st Tank Battalion won was the Presidential Unit Citation, Medal of Honor, 1, Purple Hearts, 296 with 8 clusters, Silver Star, 11, Bronze Star, 69. The countries that they fought in was France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Germany, and Austria. Another organization that used the symbol of the Black Panther was the Deacons of Defense. This was in 1964, a group of African American men in Jonesboro, Louisiana, formed this organization, and it was to protect black folks from the Ku Klux Klan. They believed in self-defense, and they also provided protection for African Americans registering to vote. So they believed in using their Second Amendment right to defend themselves. Then the next group that used, there was another group also used it to form a political party, and their political symbol was the Black Panther, and they helped register people down in the South to vote. And that's where, along with the Deacons of Defense, where the Black Panther Party developed their symbol of the Black Panther. And we know that just like the Republicans have an elephant, the Democrats had or have a donkey, and the political symbol for this group was the Black Panther. And of course, the movie's coming out, and the movie comes from a comic book called The Black Panther, and that was a symbol. And it's interesting that the comic book used that name, the Black Panther, because the Black Panther Party was out before that, and it's interesting they used that symbol. So that's just some of the brief history of the symbol of the Black Panther. And so I don't forget, the Seattle chapter of the Black Panther Party is holding their 50th anniversary, April 26th to the 28th, 2018 at Langston Hughes Performing Arts Center and at Washington Hall. This is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, April 26th to 28th. There's going to be films, there's going to be hip hop, concert, presentations, dinner, special speakers, all of that. So just want to bring that up to the people. And even after that event is over, there are going to be things that the anniversary committee wants to do to help youth and in the community, things like that. So with that being said, Brother Julius, I think you had some things you wanted to say and ask.
I just wanted to interject. Lieutenant Jackie Robinson ended up being a Hall of Fame baseball player.
Oh yeah, definitely so. And it's interesting, on a side note, that he had some problems with the pledge of the national anthem.
Right.
He's saying the way people were treated. So it's interesting, that people take a knee and people are insulted, but taking a knee is really a form of respect, for that. And it's just amazing how, what is old what is new is really old. But go ahead.
All right, so the first question I had is about when y'all went to Olympia, armed,
Yeah.
and you know the picture over there.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
Okay, I'm gonna get up and hopefully they can follow me with this, and I'll show the picture. I can either show it over here, and if it doesn't show up, I'll come back to the desk. So hopefully they can see this picture. And what it is, a lot of people when they see this picture, and I know I got it really, there we go, that's better. They see this picture and they think that it's in California, because in 1966, I believe, the Panthers were in Sacramento trying to express their right for the Second Amendment. But this is 1969 in Olympia, Washington. And there is Anthony Ware over here. And then there's Brother Clark, Wayne Jenkins in the middle, Elmer Dixon, co-founder of the Seattle Black Panther Party. Then Steve Phillips, and then myself, Naeem Sharif, AKA Warren Myers. So the story on this, my little story on it is, if you see the shotguns in front of my face, I got sunglasses on, and I was trying to be incognito that day because I didn't want my mother to know I missed school that day. So that's the reason I was so incognito. Now the other story that is really fascinating on this, well, there's two stories. One on the way out there to Olympia from Seattle. There was one guy, and I believe this guy might have been Elmer Dixon here in the middle's bodyguard. That particular morning when we were leaving, he used every excuse in the book not to come out there with us. If you ever saw the movie Blues Brothers, where John Belushi's down there not the sewer, but kind of like where the sewer was, and Carrie Fisher came down there, and Carrie was mad at him, so he used every excuse he could. You know, the cat died. You know, I had a flat tire, run out of gas, had to go to the hospital. So this guy who was going out there with us, who was supposed to go out there with us, he had every excuse in the world of not going. So found out that this particular individual was an FBI informant, and he didn't want to go out there with us that particular day. That's one story. Another story is that a couple of days before, the day that we were supposed to go out there, they had, I don't know if it was the National Guard or whoever out there, on top of the buildings in Olympia, Washington, they had 50 caliber weapons they were going to train down on us. They were all set, but we didn't come that day. And there was a reason why we didn't come to that day, and I won't reveal that reason. But it's a good thing we didn't come that day. We didn't come out there to have a firefight with anybody. We were just there like normal Americans, red-blooded Americans, expressing our right to the Second Amendment. But as I always say, whenever African Americans express their Second Amendment right, there's a problem. You know, you might have seen on Facebook, they showed two guys. They showed a white guy walking down the street with an AK-47. On the side, it was an open carry state. Police went by, no problem. Black guy had it. They stopped him, frisked him, wanted to arrest him and everything else. So, you know, you could see where, you know, that white privilege action happening. So anyway, we didn't go that day. We went a few days later, and everything was okay. But they were ready to shoot us for no reason, for us, upholding our Second Amendment rights. So, you know, it's just that double standard. You know, it's okay for certain people to do certain things, but when we do it, there's an issue and we don't get treated fairly. So that's kind of, and we were there inside was Aaron Dixon, and he was talking to the legislator about, you know, the open carry and about our right to, to bear arms, and then we were outside there. So that's kind of like some of the story of that.
All right, so to follow up, in college, I took a lot of political science, but I didn't really learn what is the amendments.
Yeah.
And so you talked about it, the Second Amendment.
Second Amendment, yeah.
What is that?
So the Second Amendment just says that you have the right to bear arms. And it goes into real detail. And the one part of the detail is that you could form a militia, but it had to be a well-regulated militia. And it had to be, you could go get your weapon at a certain place and get so much ammo. And so when people use the Second Amendment, they never really go into that part of it, the detail part of it. And so that's where, you have a right to bear arms. And there were certain, how do I want to say, certain rules to be able to do that. And so that's where that comes from. But people who always talk about the Second Amendment, they never talk about a well-regimented militia and the requirements for it. They just go, well, we have the right to bear arms. But I believe you do. But you want people to be responsible, when they do bear arms, and to be, competent. So this is, it's kind of wax on, wax off. It's good and it's bad.
Right.
But like I said, people never talk about that one part where it breaks it down how the founding fathers said, boom, 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 this. They didn't leave that part out. They just said, oh, wow, I just, want to, have my guns and so forth and so on.
Right. So I guess the next question, I was talking to you about the bastards of the party.
Yes. And
so, when I was growing up, I lived in a Crip neighborhood in South Seattle.
Yes.
And then when I went to college, I was in the Black Student Union. Mm-hmm. And I heard about Karanga, and I guess his movement was US.
It's United Slaves.
Yeah, and then I learned some about the the Black Peace Stones or the El Rukins.
Yes.
And that was mentioned in Bastards of the Party. And from what I learned is the Crips and the Bloods came after the Black Panthers. Mm-hmm. And so what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, man. There's a lot to that. What was happening was Apprentice Bunchy Carter and John Huggins, but especially Apprentice Bunchy Carter. He was a gang member down there in Los Angeles, and he became a Panther. And what he was doing, he was organizing the two gangs there, because they were fighting each other. So he was organizing them to become Panthers. And he had gone a long way with them, and getting very close to have these guys to come together and be not gangs, but be politically aware, community conscious and all this stuff. So he was really working towards that. And then what happened was there was a thing at UCLA about the black, not history courses, but basically that. And there was
ethnic studies?
Something to that effect, yeah. So there was friction between the Black Panther Party and the US. When you say US, it stands for United Slaves. And what they wanted, US group, was more a cultural thing. They carried weapons and stuff, but they were more cultural. Everything's black, 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 black.
They were like the, said, jazzy kind of.
I don't know. But I just know all their thing was black, 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 black. Everything had to be black. No matter, and it was just you wore dashikis, and that was the main thing. But they also carried weapons. And I remember going down to L.A. I'd saw them down there. A lot of them drove the VW Bugs, what you call the little Bugs, and that type of thing. So there was the Panthers wanted the classes to go in a certain direction, and us members wanted to go in a certain direction. So there was a conflict there. And what happened, Apprentice Bunchy Carter and John Huggins were assassinated on UCLA campus. And this was January 17th, 1969. They were assassinated. They're on campus by us members. So there was a conflict there between the Panthers and us. So what happened when they got killed? When they got killed, Well, this stopped the gangs from coming together.
Okay.
You know, this was really crucial. It stopped them from coming together because they were going to come together. So they just went off into their gang thing. Another thing that happened, and this is coattail things that J. Edgar Hoover did, is to divide the Panthers among themselves and other things. This goes into a question that I think you're going to ask later on. But what happened, one of the things that happened, story that's not told much, is that this train that came through the community, that one day this train came through the community and it was left open and it was full of guns and full of dope. Gang members got a hold of them. That's where a lot of these guns came from at first. They got a hold of these guns and this dope. Now, why is it that this train going through the black community all of a sudden have all these guns and this dope and the doors are left open? So the gang members got all this dope, all this guns, and that just set off stuff. They set off the drugs in the community. It was because the FBI did not, J. Edgar Hoover didn't want a black messiah to rise up, you know.
Right.
So this just hurt the community. And then you saw where drugs were put all out in the black community. And this happened before, you know, with heroin and stuff like that, but with this crack, that's how it came in. So this is what happened. This is part of what happened in that whole scenario, is that J. Edgar Hoover put his things in there. They left the dope and the guns, and then the us members, you know, killing Apprentice Bunchy Carter. The gangs were coming together, and they just broke that apart.
Okay. All right. So, what year did the party disband?
You know, I'm going to say 1982 or 84, but I could be wrong. I'll tell you what did it, though. The COINTEL project by J. Edgar Hoover, they infiltrated the Black Panther Party. Like I told you about the story of Elmer Dixon's bodyguard, he was an FBI informant. So there was informants throughout the party, and how they would get you if they got, let's say the police had something on you, you know, whatever it was. They said, well, hey, you know, we'll let that go. Just tell us what they're doing, you know, what they're meeting, what they're talking about. And then they have their own FBI people in there, you know, just disrupting things, you know, saying we're supposed to do A, we end up doing B because, you know, these people have infiltrated. And one of the greatest things that J. Edgar Hoover didn't like was, and we talked about it last show, was a free breakfast program. Here was a group of young blacks, African Americans, feeding children in cities across the United States because they found out, you know, children were going to school hungry. You know, if you're hungry, man, it's hard to concentrate. And so they were having these free breakfast programs in the Seattle area. It was at, I'm missing a place, so it's High Point, Atlantic Center, and about 3 other locations. Madrona Presbyterian Church in the Central area and a few other places. So we were feeding the children. They didn't like that. You know, you think it would have been the guns, that they didn't like us having the guns, but they didn't like us feeding people. And they would try to sabotage the free breakfast program. They would follow members of the Black Panther Party when they were going to the different locations to feed people. In some instances, they would come into where we had the food and destroy it, you know. I mean, just all kind of things to hurt the thing. So that was just something. Just like I talked about the last show, they were talking about, well, you know, y'all should restart the Black Panther Party. Well, are you willing to go through all the stuff people had to go through, you know, with the police, the FBI, with going to prison, you know, on you know, charges that, you know, you didn't do stuff? Are you willing to die, you know, and all these other things? So as I said before, take the best of what the Black Panther Party had to offer and use it. Like I said, the last program, you know, these two guys years ago called themselves the Black Panther Party, two knuckleheads, And, you know, Fox News just zeroed in on, oh, this is the new Black Panther Party, blah, blah, blah. They were just two knuckleheads.
Do you remember their names?
I don't, you know, but they even look like knuckleheads, you know. And I don't know if it was back east somewhere. But then there was a group here in the Seattle, well, in the Tacoma area that called themselves the New Black Panther Party. But after Elmer had a nice, you know, good conversation with them, they changed their name to something else. So we said, you know, don't call yourself the Panthers, you know, just leave that alone, you know.
Okay. So I guess what are some institutions in Seattle that y'all started?
Well, we talked about the free medical clinic. It started out as a Sidney Miller Clinic, and then it was renamed Carolyn Downs, which is still operating. That's at the Odessa Brown Clinic in Seattle on Yesler Street. That's still operating. One of the things that I think is that what I learned from when I went to the anniversary in Oakland was that the people who are in the party still have that spirit, that Panther spirit.
Right.
You know, even though the party doesn't exist anymore, they're still doing things out in the community. They're still working with the youth. They're still trying to direct the youth. Okay, here's what we did, A, B, C, D. Here what was wrong, here what was right. Take the best and go with that. Work with people who are right-minded. Work with people who got some sense. And remember, whatever you're gonna do in this struggle, it's for the long haul. You know, a lot of us, we didn't think we were gonna live past maybe 25 or that long. You know, we really didn't. We figured either we were gonna go to jail, prison, or be killed or whatever. So we weren't thinking the long term. But I would suggest, because people always ask, well, what can we do? You know, find what you have to offer. It could be excellence of yourself, helping your family members are going to be helping a younger person and helping an elderly person. Find that and find people that you can work with and do something for the community to help the cause. And if there's something in the Black Panther Party that you can use, go ahead and use it. But whatever you use, be intelligent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting on the, I guess, educational entertainment kind of thing, what have you thought about writing a book or making a video? Or?
No. Well, we've done a couple shows on the Black Panther Party here on this show, Al-Islam and Community Issues.
Right.
No, I've never thought about writing a book. That's definitely not my forte. I know Aaron Dixon wrote a book called My People Are Rising by Aaron Dixon. Talks about, you know, his development, you know, where he grew up, and talks about the neighborhood in Madrona in Seattle area where he grew up and where we all grew up. And he talks about what made him become a Panther and so forth. And Elmer Dixon is going to have a book out. That should be a very good book. I'll be glad when that comes out, because Elmer Dixon has a lot of stories.
Right.
He's a great storyteller. And
there's also a documentary, My People Are Rising.
My People Are Rising, and we saw that. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, that came out by a person who helped either directed or produced it, Rafael Flores. And I know him from days when I was coaching basketball. And Rafael did a good job. You know, it's interesting when you see people when they're young, like, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or whatever. And then when you see them when they grow up, when they're grown men, and wow, and then to see the stuff that they're doing and the potential that they have, and it's so great to see that they use it. So that movie about the book, that was good. So yeah, one thing I want to mention, and I think I mentioned earlier, is, you know, we are having the 50th anniversary of the Seattle Black Panther Party, April 26th to the 28th, 2018. And it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday at Langston Hughes Performing Arts Center in Washington Hall in the central area. And it's going to have films, it's going to have exhibits, it's going to have workshops, guest speakers. We don't know who the speakers are. But keep going to the website, www.seattlebpp50.com, and check that. Even after this event is over, the Seattle, the committee for the 50th anniversary still wants to do things to help youth or community organizations, etc. So even after the event is over, the stuff that we'll be doing will still be relevant.
So since y'all, what I would call form like a militia, how much discipline, did you have to do that?
So the first program of the Black Panther Party was police patrol. And what we'd have so many Panthers in the car, and we would follow the police. And then when they stopped somebody, we would be at a legal distance, as the law said, and observing, and make sure, the person wasn't brutalized, because there was just too much police brutality. And so that was the first thing that was started, was the police patrol. And we would just patrol the police, have law books in one hand, shotguns in the other. And that was one of the things. One of the things one reason why I became a Panther, I said this before, is I just don't like bullies. I don't like somebody black bullying somebody Caucasian, or Caucasian bullying someone who's African American or whatever. I just don't like bullies. And I don't like, and I don't even countries who are bullies. I don't care for bullies. So that was one of the main reasons why I joined the Black Panther Party. And so it was to patrol the police, because our people are getting brutalized, and they're getting brutalized again today. So it hasn't changed. Right. The solution would be to have community police, people who live in the community, know the community, where if a young person knows a police officer, he might not do something illegal, and then the officer can talk, hey man, don't do this, because I don't want to have to arrest you. There's a communication, but that is the issue. So it's community policing is one of the things, and we only got about 30 seconds. So Brother Julius, I thank you for your questions, and we thank our technical man, Mr. Jamal Sharif. And we welcome everybody to come out to the 50th anniversary of the Seattle Black Panther Party. There's going to be a lot of history, stuff that we didn't cover. And as we said back in the day, all power to the people. Thank you, sir.